GM. Today we're tackling a question that kind of nags at everyone holding stablecoins. You ever see a stablecoin farm showing like 15% APY and think, wait, how is that even possible? Yeah, that little moment of doubt, totally valid, because a lot of people still think stablecoin yield comes from some kind of protocol magic. But no. The math is way more real world than that. Alright, so let's start with where the yield actually comes from. Most major stablecoin issuers, Circle, Tether, even newer ones, they hold a giant pile of short-term treasury bills. Those things pay interest, real, boring, government-issued interest. And because rates have been high, the income has been, kind of juicy. So the stablecoin backing generates revenue, and some of that gets pushed out to protocols or users as yield. Nothing mystical, no hidden leverage spell, just treasuries doing what treasuries do. But here's where things get interesting. The yield you see on-chain isn't always the yield the issuer earns. Protocols take that income and wrap it in incentives, fees, liquidity rewards, which is why sometimes you'll see 4% on one platform and 12% on another, even though they're using the same underlying stablecoin. It's kind of like the APY gets dressed up for the party. Now, why does the yield fluctuate? Simple. Treasury rates change. When the Fed cuts rates, stablecoin issuers earn less. When the Fed raises, they earn more. Plus, protocols adjust incentives based on user demand, liquidity shortages, whatever narrative is hot this week. So yeah, a PY isn't a constant, it's a mood swing. But let's talk about what everyone's actually worried about. The difference between safer farms and the ones that make you think, is this a Ponzi? Friendly, safer farms usually have a few traits. The yield is clearly tied to treasury income. No crazy leverage loops. Transparent breakdowns of where rewards come from. And if incentives exist, they're small, not 50% token emissions thrown at you like confetti. Now, unsafe farms, they're the ones giving you 30%, 40%, 100% APY on a stablecoin with no explanation beyond sustainable, which, yeah, that word has been abused. If the yield depends on new deposits or a native token constantly minting to reward old users, that's when things drift into ponzi-ish territory. At the end of the day, stablecoin yield isn't magic, it's just treasury bills, incentives, and market conditions mixed together in different ways. Wild that something called a stable asset can have such an unstable APY, right? Anyway, the next time you see a big number on a farm, just pause for a sec and ask where the money actually comes from. If the answer is clear and boring, that's usually a good sign. If it's vague and hypey, maybe walk away. Alright, that's it for today. Stay curious, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.